Yep, here we go. Mrs. Oven and I are struggling with technology lately, just because. Well, I'll just take. I won't make it you as well, but things are been crazy on our technology lately. So we're. And you can't get in. Oh no! I, but not yesterday, but today. All right. Never a dull moment. And actually, I just put away all my participants so that I could see. And now let's make you a co-host. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Whoo. Okay, Mrs. Harris is going to do that thing she did yesterday. She's going to take a deep breath. Okay, now I'm ready. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate the high. That makes me ready to rock. Okay. So, in your workbook on page 62, I would like you to write something that you learned from the pages on page 32 and 33. No, sorry, from page 16 and 17. I'm already ready for the next part of my lesson in my brain, and apparently that's not what I need to be doing. So on page 62, here it looks like this. I want you to think about, and you can use your book. You can open it to page 16 and 60. Oh, Miss Lyric still has her test too, Miss Aubin. I see it right there. Oh, that looks great. Okay. No, I didn't. I'll get the score another way. So if you could open to page 16 and 17, you just to jog your memory. You don't have to copy anything. So I still see several of my friends in the room who are not on page 62. You need to be on page 62. We're going to write something that we learned right here. So what did you learn? And everybody could have something different. But think about, so you're opening to page 16 and 17. I can see that some of my friends here and at home may be struggling with their warming up of their brains today, like Mrs. Harrison was struggling this morning. So take a look here. Think about yesterday and the day before and write something down here that you learned. Go for it. Write down something you learned yesterday or the day before from pages 16 and 17. Because my guess is you didn't know all that already. So write just a sentence about what you learned right here. Page 62. You have to turn your book sideways. Turn off the light. Just so. All right. Okay, just to spark some people who are not sure what to write. Paxton, what are you thinking about writing? Or what did you write already? Well, you can open the book and look if you'd like. Yeah, go for it. All right, Elena, give us an idea. Very nice. So she wrote strawberry dart frogs are bright red. You do not have to copy what I'm writing. I'm just getting some ideas down. What else could you put in that spot, Haley? Very nice. Okay, so milk snake. And again, you only need one thing if you want to put, if you have enough room to put in two. And the Texas, what do you see again? Texas coral snake. Luck alike, don't they? Not exactly alike. That's the point, right? But like it. Ellie. All right. Strawberry dart frogs are bright red to warn other creatures that they're toxic, right? Very good. What did you say, Miss Madison? Very nice. What did you put, Miss Lila? Excellent. Oh, you and Madison had like, you were on the same brain wave, weren't you? Very nice. Robert, what did you put? Ah, our chameleon, right? Yeah, very good. Survey, what did you learn? Very good. And I know you love snakes, so that was probably a good fact to add to your already good expertise about snakes. Very nice. Mr. Jensen, what did you write down?
I wrote down how they blend in.
Okay. How what blend in? You say they. What's your they? Okay.
Like the frogs blend with their surroundings.
Okay. All right. So
they amphibians and reptiles.
Okay, so we had both reptiles and amphibians yesterday, right? We didn't just stick to our amphibians. August, what did you write?
I learned that some lizards have different colors for different purposes.
Different colors for different purposes. Because what we learned that bright colors do warn of that they might be dangerous, right? Yeah. But other ones aren't bright for that reason. They are actually not bright, so they can blend in, right? So there can be a whole variety of why you have a certain color. All right, very nice. Everybody needs at least one of those ideas. So here we have sources. Remember what a source is? What is a source? We have this big box that says source. What should we write in there? Cole, what's a source?
It's like where you got it.
Exactly, where you got your information from, where something comes from or where it's found. So source can also be the source of the water, could be a lake. So it could be, in this case, that's not how it's being used, but a source is where something comes from. So the water for the river came from perhaps the lake, where in this case, the source is our book because that's where our information came from, right? So on the source, what are we going to write over here in our sources? What should we write, Miss Lila? Yep. Very good. Everything you need to know about frogs. And we underline it. We can leave out other slippery creatures for right now. And page 16 and 17. So if we were the experts and we were writing a book, you're going to write a paragraph later and you're going to use your sources to, and you're going to make sure that you say your sources because again, we want to be fair, right? If ideas are not entirely our own, if we learned some things from other places, super important to tell where we got that information because it's giving our friends, the author credit, right? And it's not very nice to steal their ideas and say that they're ours without giving them credit. All right. Like if if the teacher asked you a question and you just couldn't come up with it and somebody else whispers it in your ear, it's not yours, right? It was their idea. So we want to make sure we give credit where credit is due. You might have heard that phrase before. So thank you. We're going to start. Hopefully that kind of gave you a little bit of a warm up for your brain about what we learned yesterday. We're going to move on today we're not going to move on to new pages, but we are going to be doing some looking at what we've learned so far and making some connections. So I'm going to get to if I can get to my presentation. Here we go. Oh, the end. Always is on the end for some reason. All right, adaptations in the wide world of frogs. So that word that we've been sort of skimming over, adaptations, is going to become very important in the next couple lessons. Okay, adaptation. So I want you to think about what you think that word means, because we are really going to dive into what an adaptation is and how it helps living creatures, not just frogs, but any living creature. So I want you to think about it. We're not going to focus on it today, but I want you to keep it in your mind because tomorrow and the next day we're going to get into that. So our learning target, we actually have 2 learning targets today. I divided them up because I want you to just have a moment to think about one first. I can describe the connections between sentences, paragraphs, and pages on pages 6 and 7 and 32 and 33 of everything you need to know about frogs and other slippery creatures. So let's look at that word connections. Do you see a root word in there? Connections, a root word, base word. What do you think, Mr. Cole? Connect. Connect. What does the word connect mean to you? Just the word connect. Lila Mars. Put something together. What do you think, Astria? What does connect mean?
Like put something together.
Okay. Oh, just perfect. That's all right. You and Lila, same brainwaves today. Okay, to put 2 things together. So what do you think then a connection is? What do you think a connection is? Connection. We're adding T-I-O-N. What do you think, Logan? Oh, I can't quite hear you. Oh, still can't hear you. I'm so sorry. You can write in the chat for us. Oh, go ahead.
Is it connecting 3 or more?
Oh, okay. So connecting more than just 2 things. Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, possibly. Ellie, what do you think? Something that's already connected. All right, interesting. Sunny, what do you think? Something that's going to be connected. All right, Cooper? Something that's similar, to find some sort of way it's similar. Okay, good. Lila? Ah, okay. So we talk about that a lot in like crew and other situations, right? About how you can make a connection with another person, something that, you haven't, the way that you think alike, or something in your life that's alike. And, or if somebody says something about a story, right? That happens all the time, right? Somebody tells a story and you make a connection in your own life and you want to tell the story about your own. So here's our word. Oh, you can't see the.
Like with the dumb friends.
Yeah, we all had another idea, didn't we? Exactly. So connections, we definitely look at that word. Connect means to put together. That's exactly what you had. Connection, the T-I-O-N makes it a noun. It makes it that not a, so you connect 2 things. That's an action. When you add T-I-O-N, it's a suffix and it makes it a noun now. So it's a thing. Is it a thing I can touch? No, it's an idea, isn't it? When we say a noun is a person, place, or thing, or idea, this is an idea. Connection is now a thing. It's the act of putting 2 things together. It's a relationship between people or things. So we make connections with our friends. When we have a conversation, but it also can be a relationship between 2 things. And today we're finding connections between sentences, some paragraphs, and some ideas on the pages that we've already read. So that's our first learning target, is we're making some connections. Our second learning target today, if it wants to work, is that I can use the text. I know you're so surprised, right? That Mrs. Harrison would ask you to use the text and images, because images were really important yesterday as well, to research the answer to a question. So today we're going to start building. What have we learned so far that we can put together, hence the connections? So that needs to come off entirely and be put underneath your desk. That should not be, those are used when we want it to be quiet. And right now you need to hear me. Thank you. So the question that we're going to be focusing on for actually the rest of this unit are how does where a frog lives affect how it looks and how it acts? We've already learned about several frogs and how that they're different, right? How they, the things about them that are different. But we have to, so we're going to start actually putting all those ideas together in a way that it will help us answer this question. And eventually we're going to write an answer to it in a paragraph. So where a frog lives affect how it looks and how it acts. Is that the same for people? Are you sure? I don't know. What? So not the people's bodies, but how about our clothing? Because we can't, change our physical appearance. Do we change depending on the weather? Do you think kids in Florida have snow boots that they bring to school? No, because do they need them? No. Do we almost always, does everybody in this room have a pair of snow boots in case that's going to be snowy? Unless you outgrew them or something, or you're between sizes, right? We all, and my friends at home, you have a coat to go outside when it's cold. Because we're humans, we can make some adjustments and to adapt to our environment. Can frogs do that? No. So their frog bodies have adapted in certain ways depending on where they live. Would a frog in a cold place be the same as a frog in a warm place? Probably not. So we're going to talk about that and really get some evidence and be able to prove our ideas in this idea. So we're not going to write a paragraph today. We're building up to that. I never just force you to write into something, right? We always do what? We research, we plan, we organize our thoughts, and then we write. So that's where we're going with this eventually. All right. So there in your book on a page, I have it right here. I made a copy of it. I want everybody to turn in their workbook to page 90. Everybody to turn to, I know it seems really far compared to some of the other pages we're on, but everybody look at page 90. It looks like the one on the board. I'll also show you on my dot camera. It looks like this. Everybody should be on page 90. I want you to read it out of your, nope, not in the book, Mr. August, in your workbook. Everybody find it. And I want you to look at the actual workbook instead of up here or try to read mine because it's too small. So I want you all to kind of look with your eyes though about this is going to be your assignment that you're going to be doing independently eventually. So I want to give you an idea because is it helpful to know what you're going to do so you can plan for it? Yeah, right? So if you look on this page, it says that where does a frog live affect how it looks and acts? That's the question I just told you about, right? So what you're going to eventually do, so your eyes are on page 90. I see some of you looking up here. I see some of you looking at me. You need to be looking at page 90. All right? Eyeballs on page 90. Thank you so much for those of you who are. It says, write an informational paragraph for students in grade 3 and 4 that explains how frogs have adapted to help them survive in various environments. Read and research. So that's what we're going to do, right? We're going to read and research. Excerpts from Everything You Need to Know About Frogs and Other Slippery Creatures. We know about that book. To find information to answer the question. So we're doing some research. Choose the most important information from your sources to include in your paragraph. Then write an informational paragraph that is several sentences long. Is this going to be pretty big? Yep. Okay. In your piece, introduce the topic and group related information together. Use facts, definitions, and details to develop the topic. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Have we done some of these together? Yes. So we're just going to go, we're getting you ready to do your own though, right? Without Mrs. Harrison's help. So that's why we practiced looking for definitions, looking for facts, looking for details in the text. All right. So I want to, and then here's what a well-written paragraph has. We're not ready to write it yet, so I'm going to skip over that part. But I want you, so it says manage your time carefully so that you can All right, so this is what we're doing in class. Is each day going to be an important step in our process? It is. So I need you guys to be focused every single day because we're going to be doing these together. But if you get behind in the process, is that going to be a problem when you go to write your paragraph? Yeah, probably. Read and research excerpts from everything you need to know. I'm going to help you with that. Plan your paragraph, write your paragraph, and use the checklist. Again, does that sound different from anything we've ever done before? No, now you just need to do it independently, right? So there's one little word there that you might want to look at. Affect. Does anybody know what the word affect means? Because especially since we're talking about, if we have to write a whole paragraph about this question, we better know what the question means, right? August, what do you think affect means?
So basically, it means like what you do, or like something like effects can be like detailed.
Okay, so let me read the question again to see if this clarifies for you. It says, where a frog lives affects how it looks or acts. Do you want to think and I'll come back?
Yeah.
Okay, Haley, do you want to add something?
Effects means like well, it kind of means like when you I mean to give an example, like if you eat a muffin then it affects it, like
Hmm.
kind of.
Well, the act of eating it changes it in some way, right? Okay, so that's I understand where you're going with that. Bird, what do you think?
I think it means like spread, like because it's spreading.
Okay, so is the disease affect the way that we act? Are you sure? So COVID has been affecting the way we live a little bit, right? And how we wear masks when we're out with other people. We stay away a little bit far away from each other, right? Okay, so that's an example of effects, but we're trying to figure out what it means. So, Air, what do you think it means?
If you get punched in the face, it affects.
That's another example. So Sawyer said if you get hit in the face, it affects you. Okay, Robert, help us out. Definition. We're looking.
Like changes the way you do something.
I like that word change. Okay, so that we're getting closer. So the way something, and that works with Bird's example, right? Because how we've had to deal with the virus changed the way we act. Very good. So I like the word change. Serne, what do you think?
It changes like how we actually can make something like maybe better or make something worse.
Oh, okay. So what affects you might make it better, might make it worse. I like that. Logan, what do you want to add? Oh, you're muted, my friend. There you go.
It means it changed very quick. It like changed the action or movement.
Okay. That sounds like a dictionary definition. Did you look it up? Okay, so it's okay I liked, but I like the definition. Very nice. Anybody else? Miss Lila, you want to add anything else?
I think that effect means that like if you live in the desert, you're dressed differently than how you're dressed in the mountain.
Very good. So it makes a difference, doesn't it? When something affects you, it makes a difference. Like with Bird's example, we have to change the way we live. There's a difference between before and after. So that's important to know because we looking at the question that says where a frog lives affects how it looks or acts. So how does where it lives change how it looks from other frogs or how it acts compared to other frogs? Does where it live change, or do all frogs act and live the same exact way? Well, we already know that's not true, right? We've already learned about several that live differently. Nice job, my friends. So that's where we're going with this. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to take some time today to, again, look through some differences and talk about different connections that different parts of our book have. Because when you're trying to find out how things are different, we also need to see how things connect, right? How they're not the same, but how they go together in a way. So eventually you are going to work on page 69 today. So before we do that, because I want you again to be thinking about, go ahead and turn to page 69 in your workbook. Looks like this. I have to go over a couple more vocabulary words before we dive back into our books. Mr. August, I'm looking for page 69. Looks like this for my friends at home. Page 69. Is this a way for us to gather information for our paragraph? It's going to happen. You know why I know it's going to happen? Because I'm looking at the top and it has my research question on it. Can everybody put their finger on their research question? Put your finger on the research question. Put your finger, Sawyer, on the research question. Does that research question look familiar? It's just the one we just read, isn't it? Why does where a frog lives affect how it looks or acts? What's right underneath that? What do you see? The focus statement. We're not going to fill that in today, but is that something we should be thinking about? Yes, because if we're going to write a paragraph, that focus statement is super important. So we're not going to write that today, but I want you to think about, as we're talking today, as we're looking over those other pages, what might eventually go there. Now, of course, we know our sources are going to be our book, but we're not going to fill that in for right now. Pretty soon, it says frog adaptations. We're going to talk about adaptation in a moment. Facts and details. Oh, we need those. And then there's this word elaboration. So let's look. So facts and details. What is the frog? What do you think is going to go in that box when we get started on this? What do you think is going to go in that box, Lila? The name of the frog. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those boxes. So how many frogs are we going to look at? 5 different types of frogs, aren't we? It says, what is the adaptation? So adaptation. What word do you see inside adaptation that is our base word? Miss Cernay, what do you see? Adapt. Very good. Adapt. Does anybody know what adapt means? Anybody besides my two really on the ball? Sunny, help me out. Okay, you can't use the word in the definition. Oh, getting used to it. I like that. Lucas, add some more. So it's growing. Okay, all right. So something that you're dealing with that you have to do some sort of changing. Charlie, adapt. Oh my goodness, Charlie, that was like the dictionary. Awesome. Changing to be able to deal with the environment, right? When we adapt to go outside, what do? We have to put on our coats, right? So we don't freeze, right? So we are adapting to the situation. So adapt is a verb, right? We do it. We adapt. But adaptation is what kind of word? When I added a shun to it, the ATION. It became, instead of a verb, it became now a, what do you think, Haley? It became a noun. Very good. When I have adapt, That's our base word. Adapt means to change depending on your environment and your situation. And then when we add the ATION, that shun part makes it a noun. And now it becomes a special way an animal looks or acts, depending on where it lives. Oh, that sounds like our question again, doesn't it? So, an adaptation, a special way. Do frogs have feet? All frogs? Yeah. Well, unless they're the weird. Well, you're right. Do all adult frogs have feet? Are their feet different, however? Yes. So they have an adaptation depending on where they live, what kind of feet they have. So we're going to be looking at adaptations of 5 different types of frogs. The last box you're going to be filling out. How does this help the frog survive? So that goes with my friend Charlie's definition again. It changes to be able to survive in its environment, right? A frog, we know that if we go outside without a coat and are out there for a super long amount of time, Miss Liz definitely knows this because she used to do outdoor recess all the time. And Miss Liz, what happens if a human doesn't wear a coat and goes outside for a super long amount of time? Might get frostbite, hypothermia. So there's definitely a consequence to not adapting to our environment. Humans do it in a different way than frogs, but we have to adapt. Now, this word elaboration, how does this help the frog survive? This word elaboration, that's another ATION word. Is it another noun? Yep, it's another noun. Does anybody see boy, I have a lot of vocabulary today. Does anybody see the main base word or root word in elaboration? That's a long one. Anybody at home see the root word for elaboration? Anybody? Anyone? Logan?
Elab.
All right. Well, it's close. It's close. Does that elab sound like a real word though? So
No.
it's elaborate. So when I elaborate, Mrs. Harrison actually spends a lot of time sitting at his computer elaborating. I feel, in fact, I really wish I wasn't. But elaborate means to tell extra details, to go to tell and tell and tell, and that's all I do. Feel like I do sometimes. Elaborate. So what would elaboration be? If I have to write some elaboration in there, a noun now, Lila. Very good. I'm going to give lots of details in this box to explain the other 2 boxes, aren't I? I'm going to add more details here to make it this and this make more sense. Very good. Just like Mrs. Harrison adds lots of details to help us understand what we're learning, right? Okay. All right, friends. I think I'm going to stop blabbing for a little bit here. I want you to take a moment to open up your book. We're going to do some connections real quick here. Maybe if I can get my right screen up. Here we go. There we go. So I want you to go ahead and turn to page 6 and 7 for a moment. Done with my vocabulary. So take a look at that blue section. The blue section. So this section right here. Everybody should be on these 2 pages. These 2 pages. So yes, you have to move. I know it's been a while. That's why we're going to just refresh our memory. So everybody, just real quick, we're going to reread page. I'm going to let you do the work so I can take a breath. Everybody write to themselves, reread the blue section on page 6. Page 6, Mr. August. Page 6. Reread that blue box. Give me a thumbs up when you're done reading for me so I know that you're ready to move on, especially my friends at home. Mr. Jensen, you disappeared. Mr. Ben, do you see where we are? We're reading that blue section on page 6. All right. Who can tell me what that section is mostly about? Madison. Just amphibians? And reptiles. Okay, it tells us a little bit about both, doesn't it? Okay, Noah? Tells us what, gives us some examples of amphibians. Very good. Mr. Lucas, what else? Tells us how they breathe. Oh, who's they? Okay, it's the amphibians, right? Tells us how they breathe. Cool. What else? Okay, that first sentence, they live partly on land, partly on in water. Very good. Serena, anything else we haven't gotten to? Okay, the differences between amphibians and reptiles. What I see, we have this word, the sentence in the middle. We say reptiles have dry, scaly skin, but amphibians have soft, moist skin. Is that important to the rest of our work? Especially the part about frog skin, Cooper. What do we know about frog skin that's pretty important? It has to be wet so they can breathe. Okay. So if we look at let's make some connections to the rest of the page then. So how does the signpost, so the part where it says how many, right there, what connection does that make back to the blue? What connection? Remember, connection is how are they linked, or how can you put them together? Lila Mars, you're on fire today.
How many has a connection because how many amphibians there are and how many species of frogs there are, and that connects to amphibians.
Okay, so they talk about some examples in the blue, don't they? And then they tell us, well, that's not even all of them, right? There's tons more that we haven't listed here. In fact, 6,800 different kinds that they did not list in the blue section, right? Is that a lot? That's a lot of different types of frogs, right? Okay, but so then let's go to the right where it says is a toad a frog. How does that connect to the blue section? How does that connect to the blue section? Everybody should read it again. The little part where it said is a toad a frog. Reread it. I like how I see eyeballs reading. Paxton, good job. Gabe, good job. Lennox, good job. Henrik, good job. Mr. Sawyer, I need you reading that section right there. Max Fox, what do those two have as a connection?
What they have, pretty much, the reason why why it's a toad frog is because it looks like a frog, but on the other side, it also looks like it looks like a reptile.
Ah, very good.
It looks like a frog and a crocodile, because crocodiles have bumps on them, so it kind of looks like a mix between the two. And they're wondering, wait, is a toad an amphibian or a reptile?
Very good. Can you just teach for me today, Max? That was perfect. I mean, that was the perfect answer, my friend. So I'm just going to rephrase a little bit, but I don't think I can even do as good a job. Max was saying that if you're reading, you just read about frogs and amphibians and how they are, about their skin and so forth. And then here we go. Hey, this toad is dry and lumpy, but we just learned amphibians are soft and moist. But they are indeed a frog. So it's giving us some more information and clarifying, isn't it? Very nice. All right. So here we have most amphibians breathe in water. So we're going to jump to the bottom in that circle. Everybody reread those sentences in the circle. Let me show you briefly on my dot camera what I'm talking about right here. Right here. Down here at the bottom. Same page. Just go down to the bottom. Charlie's done reading. Good job. Thank you for telling me. August, reread those 2 sentences, buddy. Oh, thank you so much for those thumbs up. And I know when you're ready. And Mrs. Harrison does have very nice. All right. What's the connection, Mr. Henrik? What do you think? Why would that? What does that part have to do with what we learned in the blue section? Okay, so you're jumping ahead a little bit. Very nice. You just made a connection to something from other pages, didn't you? You just made a connection about another frog and about how they breed. Very nice. So what does breeding in water have to do with that blue section? What did that blue section say that this makes a connection with? Cole? That very first sentence that you actually mentioned at the beginning.
Amphibians are animals that live partly in water and partly on land. And that connects to the fact that they self-dry like us when they breathe in water.
It connects the water, the living in partly in water, to this part of their life where they have to breed and put their eggs, right? Their eggs are soft and jelly-like, and they lay them in the water. That's a perfect connection. Very good. How about the baby amphibians? Baby amphibians live entirely in water. Called tadpoles, they swim like fish and breathe through gills. As they grow up, they develop legs and crawl on land, but they must always be in wet places. What connection does that have to what the big section? What connection does that have? What does it make us think about? What does it say in the blue that is supported by that other section? All right, I'm looking for my friends at home. I'm looking for some friends at home to help me out. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I'm really hoping they're thinking. All right, Lila, help us out.
So how that connects is it connects to the part where it's like amphibians with soft white skin, most amphibians can breathe through the skin, but only if it stays there.
And you think they have to stay in the water to stay damp. Okay, very good. Does this also explain how they get out of the water? Because of that first sentence says they live partly in water and partly on land. So this is telling how they live in the water, but they also grow legs and crawl out, right? Very nice. Okay, now here we go. Very important. We're going to make some connections and we're going to fill out our form here, and then you're going to do something for me. I'm a tree frog. Everybody read that section. Not out loud. Read the sentences to yourself up in that corner, because we're going to use this information on page 69. You guys are getting there. You're getting there. You're getting there. Read those sentences. Give me a thumbs up when you're done. Oh, look at that. I got some strong thumbs going here. I got a couple people who want to tell me the connection. I can tell already. Awesome. All right. Max, you're on fire. Go for it. In a minute, yes, you are. Paxton, what connection does the tree frog section have with the blue part? Not sure? Need some help? Okay. All right. Serne, what do you think? What does that tree frog section have to do with the blue part?
That he can still breathe through his skin because he's still wet, because the trees are wet all the time because it's so humid.
Excellent. So again, it goes back to that being wet, doesn't it? And it's telling us that some of them have to live a little bit differently, right? Okay, so let's write this down. Let's get this down. So here's our tree frog. So put tree frog right here. You're on page 69. Everybody should still be on that page from before, right? All right. All right. So what do tree frogs have on their body that help them? You just read it. Ellie? Huge sticky fingers. Write that. How does that help the frog survive? Here's our elaboration. How does that help our frog survive? Charlie Carr. Where do they go to get away from the predators? Very good. I don't even need to teach anymore. You guys have this. Helps it climb. So good, because I'm going to stop in a minute here. Helps climb trees, right? Hence a tree frog, right? To get away from, to hide and get, to get away from. And doesn't it help them hide? And hide from predators. All right. Sorry, I think some people would like me to make that a little bigger, huh? See if I can. Oh, it won't let. Yeah. It'd be great if it would let me do what I want. Oh, move that. Move that. All right. Does that help everybody? All right. You can put it in your own words too, though, right? Okay. So guess what you're gonna do now? Do you see how we made those connections and we decided what those parts were? That wasn't too hard, was it? We got it. All right. So now turn to page 32 and 33. Because now you're going to work with a partner. And my friends at home, I'm going to put you in a breakout room. All right. The 32 and 33 looks like this. It's, guess what frog it is? Very nice. So this is what I want you to do. I'm not going to give you a long amount of time to do this because I know you can do it pretty quickly. But I want you with your partner to reread before you write. I want you to do what? Reread. Is that what we did on the last 2 pages? We reread. So reread on page 32 and 33. All of those. That's not very long, is it? There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little sections. Oh, no. Listen to directions before you get too excited. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you just to fill out this next section for the glass frog with a partner after you reread page 32 and 33. Okay? Should you make some connections with your partner? Go, oh, that makes, and that goes with that because that's what I want you to do. Use your brains, make connections, and fill out this section right here. All right, which frog are we going to write in here? Very good. Now, I want you guys to really think about this part here. Okay, the elaboration part. All right, just give me a thumbs up if everybody knows at home what you're going to be doing when you get in your breakout room. Leo knows, good job. Okay, you're just filling out the next section. Anybody else not understanding what we need to do? All right, I don't see any. Oh, of course you can. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, you guys go ahead and find somebody to work with. Go ahead. You're not gonna have a huge amount of time. My friends at home, I'm gonna put you in a breakout room, and I want you to fill it out. All right. All right, here you go. Go, go, go. Go to your breakout room. Fill it out.
Can we do freestyle?
Sure. Oh, are you with, can I send you to room 4? You don't actually have
It doesn't say that there's breakout rooms.
to.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Adaptation. Adaptation. Hey, Abby, you got to go to your breakout room. You got to at least, so when you come back, you can fill in your page. Okay. Go to your breakout room with that, because somebody's waiting for you. You got to talk about it. Even though you don't have the thing, you can talk about it with your partner. Okay. All right. Go talk to Gavin. Okay, I can't hear you right now because it's a little loud. So go to your breakout room and just talk to Gavin, okay? Go. Come on.